Hi, welcome to the Thursday afternoon tune-up. I am Diane Spadola and this is episode number 23. This video series is brought to you by Accelerate Your Success, the Business Booster Program for Entertainers. Jump on over to Facebook when I am done and join my free Facebook group by the same name, Accelerate Your Success. Think of this video as your information and inspirational pit stop before the race, which is your busy weekend. Today I want to talk about something called the peak end rule. It is a psychological phenomenon that basically states that an individual, specifically consumers in this case, will judge an experience at the peak time of that activity and at the end of the experience, rather than a kind of average of the entire time period. Okay? Now, this does not say that a first impression is not important, but what it means is that if you're doing an event, the peak, and the person's there for the entire event, that the peak of that event, which might be the time when most things are happening, maybe the halfway point, and what happens in the very end of that event are the two most important times that consumers will judge the success or failure of that activity. So, what this means to us as entertainers is that how you say goodbye is just as important, if not more important, as how you say hello when you arrive at a gig. What do you do for the last guest at your events? You know you need to go. You're already calculating travel, perhaps to your next gig or some other personal obligation. You're thinking about how hungry you are, how you really wish you had a chance to have a bottle of water, and you're probably thinking about what's the best and quickest, most efficient way of packing up. Then, if you're like me, you also want to make sure you acknowledge that host or hostess and that you have an opportunity for them to praise you and perhaps provide you with a gratuity. So all of these things are on your mind as you're ending that gig. However, one of the things that I discovered in my very early days of face painting is that I need to spend the most amount of time on both the birthday child as well as the last person in line. So what I do is I make a huge fuss over the last guest. I give them something really special. It could be birthday girl bling. It could be the most fantabulous custom design that I've done that day. It could be just spending a little bit of extra time with that final person. And the reason why is because that individual waited longer for me and for what my service was than anybody else at that event. They also may have arrived later than the other people at the event and may have missed some of the things that happened earlier in the party. That person might have already anticipated that I'm going to be rushed while I'm taking care of them because they came late, because they were last, because most of the vast majority of the people at the event have already been taken care of. The notion of the peak end rule is something that is an actual phenomenon. You will be measured by how you treat that last guest and how you make your departure, more so than how you arrived at the event or even what you did during the event. So make sure to make a big fuss. Make sure that the last person that gets done has one of your better face paints of the day. And don't forget to acknowledge the host and hostess on your way out. Next week, I'll talk about pricing and how you can price your programs or services so that you have that little bit of extra time, not only at the front end of your party to cater to the birthday child, but at the back end of your party to make sure that your last guest deserves the extra attention and that you have the time to give it. See you next week.